Ellen is lying in the intensive care room. In her mind there was a clear image of her being attacked in the eye by the perpetrator. At this point, Nurse Clayton entered. When Ellen opened the blindfold, Ellen panicked. Turns out she couldn't see it anymore. Clayton reassured Ellen, then immediately called a doctor. He knocked on the door a few times and left. The doctor said that Ellen's eyes were badly injured by chemical spray. To put it bluntly, Ellen's eyes won't be able to cure it. Hearing that, Ellen grieved, hugging her face and crying. Since then, she can only live in darkness and wait for the police to come to investigate the case. But Ellen couldn't see the culprit clearly. She only knew it was a man. Ellen is a violinist. That day, Ellen came out of the car tunnel. She was holding a violin worth $500,000. Then she was attacked by the perpetrator. Police said that this is a robbery. They assured Ellen they would definitely capture the culprit. They also comforted Ellen, hope she can adapt to her new life soon. Clayton then helped Ellen contact her brother. Because my brother is in a foreign country, he cannot return in the next 2 months. So he asked Clayton to take care of Ellen. He helped Ellen rent an apartment at sea. Clayton is very adept at this. He helps Ellen adapt to the new environment. Also help her to install the emergency call button. He also gave her a green parrot. Clayton told Ellen she could only imagine the world out there. Ellen gently approached the parrot. The parrot was green, but she looked blue. Now, all around, she had to listen to Clayton's description, or she would have to imagine herself. When Clayton left, Ellen tried to adapt to her surroundings. She decided to take a bath to relax. She must accept a new life. Ellen did not know whether it was morning or dark. Suddenly she heard a sound from outside. Ellen slowly stepped out to watch. There was a sound again. It seemed a girl was crying. She followed the cry, discovering a man's voice. The other girl also disappeared. Ellen again walked over to the crying girl. She touched the ventilation door. It turned out that the neighbor's husband and wife were arguing. The next day, Ellen tried to leave the house. She walked over to the neighbor's door and stuck a piece of paper. "Join me for T902. Then Ellen told Clayton what happened last night. But Clayton told Ellen to ignore the other people's house. Then they started to practice using the voice calculator. When he was younger, Clayton said his mother was bedridden. His father is an alcoholic. Never cared about his mother. So it was all him and his sister taking care of his mother. After his mother died, he was used to taking care of others. So he chose to become a nurse. He thinks this job is like taking care of his mother as a child. The only difference is in front of each patient. He has to play different roles." Ellen asked Clayton, "So in front of her, what role is he?" Clayton replied, "Probably the role himself." After that, the two people silently said nothing. That evening, the neighbor came to Ellen's house. At first, the two people talked happily, but when Ellen touched her neighbor's face, she felt the wound was quite heavy. The neighbor became nervous, then told Ellen she should not trust anyone. Then she left scared. Ellen called the police. She suspects that the neighbor has experienced domestic violence. The next day, Ellen heard the police sound from the neighbors. The police then called Ellen. They said there was nothing unusual about the neighbors. Also speaking, it seems that the girl over there has a mental problem. Then told Ellen not to think too much. But Ellen senses danger. But she doesn't know why. No one believed what she said. That evening, the neighbor's husband came to the house to warn Ellen. "Don't worry about it in the future. Take care of yourself." Then he left. Ellen felt scared and wanted to report it to the police. But as soon as he picked up the phone, Clayton called. "He's been standing outside for half an hour. I dare to use courage to call her." Upon meeting Clayton, Ellen says she was being threatened by a neighbor. Clayton angrily planned to go to the neighbor's house, but Ellen stopped him. She asked Clayton why he said, "I will never dare to take courage." Finally, he confessed that he was in love with Ellen. It was thought that Ellen also had feelings for Clayton, but Ellen refused. She knew she needed Clayton very much, but she still hopes the two of you can be the same as before. Make friends first, it will be calculated later. Clayton apologized to Ellen and left the house. After a while, someone entered Ellen's house. She thought Clayton was back. She apologized for being a bit agitated just now, but Clayton said nothing. Suddenly, what turned into the neighbor? Ellen felt scared. Neighbors turned into perpetrators. The next day, Ellen woke up in a coma. The killer disappeared before her eyes as the medical staff. After making sure Ellen was okay, he left. The police told Ellen. After leaving her home, Clayton never returned. They checked all the cameras, but no one came in. But what Ellen felt was extremely true. She felt very well that she was attacked by someone. Ellen felt terrified. She told the police to come ask the neighbors, but the police said the neighbors didn't hear anything. No one believed what Ellen said. She is extremely desperate. The police advised Ellen to rest early, and he will go check out some other cameras. Before he left, he knocked on the table twice, then talked to Ellen. Since you can't see it, all feelings are not necessarily true. Maybe it's just an illusion. Feeling is the only thing I have right now. The next day, Ellen sat in front of the computer screen. She started recording everything that happened recently. She was so scared she couldn't sleep. During the day, I panic because I do not know what to do. Let people believe what she said. That's right, she couldn't even convince herself. Ellen gently went out onto the balcony. The wind blew her hair, blew her tears. She said, "I'm sorry." She then jumped down, leaving the room empty. In her ear there was a siren. Ellen woke up. Where is this? There is also a car horn around. Ellen moved forward. She bumped into a wall. She is surrounded by that wall. There was a lot of noise around. These sounds come from a speaker on the ceiling. Ellen felt scared. Looks like she understood something. Ellen stepped on the speaker and tried to hold onto the railing. Then she made it to her room. She found the elevator and opened the door, but the elevator is locked. When Ellen returned helplessly, she returned to the room, crying desperately. Then she regained her composure. Then the neighbor knocked on the door. No one responded to her. She left when the elevator suddenly opened. She thought it was Clayton, but that is the neighbor girl. Ellen pretended to ask her neighbors for help to lead her home. Then she turned on the faucet, deliberately dropped the lighter on the floor. When the neighbors helped Ellen pick up the lighter, Ellen said to her she committed suicide by jumping upstairs. What happened in the end? Questioned by Ellen, the neighbors said in fear, "Everything just because it is good for you." Ellen asked how to leave. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. The neighbor's husband showed up, leading her home. After a while, Clayton brought Ellen the food. Then the two quarreled. Ellen asked Clayton what happened. Ever since Ellen lost her sight, the doctors, the neighbors, the police around her were all fake. All just a lie. Clayton said she could call her brother. All are just testing items. The neighbors are like Ellen. They are all sick and are here to treat. In order for Ellen to return to her previous life, they reimagined a normal life. Actually, everything is for Ellen's sake. Helps her easily return to the real world, because Ellen was already suffering from post-traumatic stress. Furthermore, she just lost her sight, so don't think too much. They just want to protect her. Ellen did not believe, but she did not see, was sick like that. So she had to believe that. Clayton wants to help her. Then two people hugged. Then Clayton took out his violin. He hoped Ellen could return to the person she was before. This is also part of therapy. Then he said to get some food, he'd be right back. Then knocked on the table 2 times. This made Ellen think of something.
Back in 2 bucks. Of the blind woman. He said usually.
Is that really necessary?
I'm not sure. Doctors on TV do it. Back in 2 bucks.
I'm a paramedic.
Caretaker of the blind woman. I feel like this place is better off with one less paranoid bitch.
Trust anyone.
Ellen began to feel fear, but she pretended to calm down, inviting Clayton to sit down. The two of them drank and talked as usual. Then Ellen pretended to drop the wine glass.
Wake up.
Then Ellen found the key. She rushed to the neighbor's house. She took the key open and found her way. This side is not the neighbor's house? This is a new warehouse, right? Ellen just kept moving forward. She went to a hospital room. The neighbor girl was sitting on the bed. Turns out, she was Clayton's sister. Ellen wanted to take her away, but she disagreed, because Clayton was her only relative. This is also her home, she said to Ellen. The only outlet is the ventilation door in the room. She told Ellen to run away, let alone her. When Ellen came out of there, Clayton appeared. Ellen was captured by Clayton and locked in a room. Ellen knew everything, he did not need to pretend. It turns out after her mother's death, Clayton's father burned everything related to his mother. That made Clayton extremely angry. He wants to go against his father, but father locked in the cellar. He was locked up for 3 years. He can only see the outside world through his imagination. Waited too long. As soon as she couldn't stand it anymore, Clayton heard Ellen's sister play music through the vents. That sound enlightened Clayton's soul. After his father's death, Clayton built this place. He also wanted to enlighten Ellen's soul. He blinded Ellen, like before he was locked in a cellar. The surroundings are just darkness. That way he can become Ellen's light. Where does Ellen want to go? Just tell him, he'll take you there. After hearing that, Ellen pretended to be soft, then agreed to be with Clayton. Then, she knocked him out with an electric shock. Ellen found the vents, but that's not the way out. It's a bottle of some kind of solution. She opened and sniffed. Turns out, it was a pesticide that blinded her. In other words, Clayton was her attacker. Clayton's sister said that is, wanting Ellen to understand everything. After that, Ellen ran back to her room, still caught by Clayton in the end. While struggling, Ellen threw the solution into Clayton's face. Clayton screamed in pain, he was again drowning in darkness. Finally, thanks to the help of Clayton's sister, Ellen escaped from there, but Clayton's sister did not run away with Ellen. She would stay there to take care of Clayton. 6 months later, Ellen returned to her normal life. Though her eyes were no longer visible, but she can still play the piano. That guitar was the one Clayton gave her. The story here is the end. The movie, Sightless, is indeed confused on the audience. If you are suddenly blind, you cannot see. Only the outside world can be imagined, or listen to other people's description. It is indeed scary. Today's movie comes here only. Everyone remember to like and share to support JTeam.